Never needed to be this way. The leaking and the planting. I want a family, not an institution. They feel as though it's better to keep us somehow as the villains. They've shown absolutely no willingness to reconcile. I would like to get my father back.
Now, next week, Prince Harry drops his book called Spare. And before that book comes out, he's doing press to promote the book. And in this press tour, he seems to be complaining that the royal family was leaking and planting stories about him and his wife, Meghan. Check it out.
One of the criticisms that you've received is that, well, okay, fine, you want to move to California, you want to step back from the institutional role, why be so public? You say you tried to do this privately.
And every single time I've tried to do it privately, there have been briefings and leakings and planting of stories against me and my wife. You know, the family motto is never complain, never explain, but it's just a motto. And it doesn't really hold.
There's a lot of complaining and a lot of explaining.
Endless.
Private, being done through leaks.
Through leaks. They will feed or have a conversation with the correspondent, and that correspondent will literally be spoon-fed information and write the story, and then at the bottom of it, they will say that they've reached out to Buckingham Palace for comment. But the whole story is Buckingham Palace commenting. So when we're being told for the last 6 years, we can't put a statement out to protect you, but you do it for other members of the family, there becomes a point when silence is betrayal.
The most interesting part about this clip is that Prince Harry and Meghan Markle have actually been the ones caught planting and leaking stories to the media that disparage the royal family. You don't believe me? Check out the evidence. Now, our first piece of evidence comes from a journalist named Omid Scobie, and he wrote this book, Finding Freedom. Now, when this book came out, a lot of aristocrats in Britain believed that the couple were leaking information to Omid Scobie, and that's why he was able to get such intimate details about the couple. Here's Lady Colin Campbell explaining it.
And we've been talking about it a lot, and now British aristocrat and author Lady Colin Campbell is here to give us her take on this explosive new biography, and she joins us now from her home in Castle Goring in the UK. Lady Colin, lovely to have you on the show.
My pleasure.
Lady Colin, you say that the authors of Finding Freedom are out acting as a mouthpiece for the couple. This is something that we've heard as rumours too here. We've been sort of talking about that, but let's explain it from your angle.
Well, it couldn't be simpler. Obviously, Harry and Meghan have leaked all sorts of stuff to Amid Scabies and Cowering Durand, who have written something called Funding Freedom and Finding Freebies. The book is actually a farce.
Now, Omid Scobie was upset that people were making this connection. So he went on a press tour and made it very, very clear that Harry and Meghan weren't giving him any information and had nothing to do with this project. Check it out.
Some of the anecdotes and stories in the book are incredibly personal, aren't they? I know they've denied it, but did you speak with Harry and Meghan directly?
No, we didn't speak with Harry and Meghan directly. They didn't cooperate with the book, and there's certainly no secret off-the-record conversations that have taken place either.
And Omid, you've repeatedly stated that Harry and Meghan did not cooperate or interview for the book in any way. So what then makes this different from any other tell-all book about the royals? And why should anyone believe the claims in this biography?
I think what makes this book different is that the sourcing really was born out of a very unique situation.
So then a bombshell dropped. See, in court documents, it was found that Omid Scobie was lying. Entertainment Tonight broke the story. Check out their clip.
Private text and emails were read in court, including one from Harry.
I totally agree that we have to be able to say we didn't have anything to do with it. It would help to get some truths out there.
Did Harry and Meghan help you with Finding Freedom?
On multiple occasions, Finding Freedom co-author Omid Scobie denied to us ever working with Harry and Meghan.
No cooperation from the couple whatsoever.
So Lady Colin Campbell was right. Omid Scobie was getting inside information from Harry and Meghan. They were leaking and planting information so he can write this book. So now it's kind of ironic to hear him say that he's so upset that stories were being leaked and planted about him.
And every single time I've tried to do it privately, there have been briefings and leakings and planting of stories against me and my wife.
When he was the one leaking and planting stories about his family. Now, because they told this lie to a court, they had to now publicly come out and admit to the lie. Here's the BBC's news coverage of it.
The Duchess of Sussex has apologised for misleading a court about information given by her aides to the authors of a biography.
Previously, the Sussexes have said that a spokesperson said the couple did not share any information, did not contribute to a biography called Finding Freedom. However, yesterday in court, a witness, a senior aide to the Duchess, said that actually there were a number of meetings, both in person and over email, about that publication, that the Duchess of Sussex had shared information, had shared points to be shared with the authors. So there's a contrast in those two accounts.
We know that Harry is upset that his family allegedly were leaking and planting stories to the media, but he was also planting and leaking stories to the media, and now he's trying to play the victim card. That, oh my God, they were doing this evil thing to me, when he was doing the exact same thing to them.
There have been briefings and leakings and planting of stories against me and my wife. The leaking and the planting.
Including one from Harry.
I totally agree that we have to be able to say we didn't have anything to do with it. It would help to get some truths out there.
This might not have convinced you that Harry and Meghan have been leaking and planting stories all this time. But this is only one piece of evidence. What about leaking and planting false reports? Now, for this evidence, I have to point you to the Netflix docuseries Harry and Meghan. On this series, they profile this guy. His name is Christopher Boozy of Bot Sentinel. Now, Bot Sentinel's report has been totally refuted by Twitter. Here is Lady Colin Campbell, again, explaining it.
Line number 8 is a study in manipulation, dishonesty, and quite frankly, insulting the intelligence of the viewing public. You have some man whose name I don't wish to sully my mouth with, who claims to be an expert and who claims to own a company called Bot Sentinel, which claims to be expert on discovering who bots are. And he asserts boldly in the show that Harry and Meghan were the victims of trolling. The only problem with that is Twitter did its own investigation and refuted those claims absolutely. Also, Netflix has claimed that this company, which really is not a proper company, because it's effectively a sham, as the man who heads it up has admitted himself that he has been trolling William and Catherine. Well, how can you be an expert on preventing trolling when you are a major participant in the practice of trolling? He claims he has a 95% accuracy. Well, he has a 4.5% accuracy maximum. The studies show his claims are out by nearly 92%. You couldn't make this up. He is a self-proclaimed expert with no accreditation to back up his claims. Nevertheless, supposedly reputable magazines such as Forbes and Newsweek, and of course, a reputable company, supposedly reputable company like Netflix, is advancing him as an expert when he has no expertise in the matter whatsoever. He never studied it. He's never worked in it before. The company is effectively a joke. I mean, at best, Forbes, Newsweek, and Netflix are justifiably guilty of sloppy journalism. Newsweek and Forbes, we can let off the hook thereafter. Netflix, I don't think so. They have purposely advanced as an expert somebody they should have known was not, and who is as guilty as sin of the very thing he is accusing people of being.
And just so we're absolutely clear about what Lady C is talking about, Christopher Boozy, who was in the documentary and supposed to be the expert on stopping trolling, was trolling William and Kate. Here are some of the tweets. Matter of fact, his trolling campaign was so successful, there was an article written about it. Here it is on the screen. Let's read some of it. This is from the website thethings.com. Prince William and Kate Middleton trolled for looking old and haggard. And here in the article, it says, Christopher Boozy, founder of Bot Sentinel, appears to be behind the igniting of this discourse. He tweeted yesterday, "Forgive me in advance for being petty. I just saw a recent photo of William and Kate, and those two are aging in banana years." And just so we're absolutely clear, this expert with no credentials, no education, no history working in a field claimed that there was a coordinated campaign against Harry and Meghan. Twitter looked into it and found that that's absolutely false. There was no evidence of any widespread coordination. Then comes to find out that their expert was an expert in trolling. He was actually trolling William and Kate, Harry's brother. And Harry's the one complaining about people planting stories and planting things about him and his wife, negative things.
There have been briefings and leakings and planting of stories against me and my wife. The leaking and the planting.
And another bombshell that we didn't even talk about is that the fact that this guy admitted to being paid by Meghan and then retracted that claim later. So this seems like a huge gaslight by Harry and Meghan. Think about it. They're claiming that the royal family's planting fake stories about them to make them look bad, when we know for a fact they have planted stories against the royal family to make them look bad and then lied, even in court, to try to protect that source, to try to say they didn't have anything to do with it. And now we know that was a straight up lie. And then we also know that the stories about her being trolled excessively online through this coordinated campaign was also just straight up a lie. They're expert on trolling. He was an expert. He was an expert because he was trolling William and Kate and then claimed that he was being paid by Meghan before he then retracted that and said he wasn't being paid by Meghan. It was a misquote.